in prison, and he was in the prison, that because even our Imam also mentioned this one in one of his hadiths, uh, that this is just like what Pharaoh did in his time. When he came to know someone from Bani Israel will overturn his governance and his kingdom, then he were killing all the male child. But you can see that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and finally he was killed by protested Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and finally he was killed at that time. So the same thing was happening at the time of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. So they were thinking Imam Mahdi will come from Imam Hasan Askari, and they were deeply observing everything. They were investigating that if Imam Mahdi is there, so they wanted to kill him as well. This is why they were always prisoning Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. Even when he was free, he was not allowed to meet anyone. He was not allowed to have socialization. It was very tough time for Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. But he established the system and the network of his representatives. On the other hand, we also see there is a notable growth of Shia community at the time of Imam Askari alayhi salam, and it was very important for the growth and the spiritual development of our Shia community. So Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam has very sensitive position and role, and it was very difficult for him to interact and connect with the Shia community and scholars. So this is why he established and he empowered the system of like network of his representative, and through his representative he would convey his message. So he was a precious person. He was very kind-hearted. Even the ministers of the Abbasid caliphs of that time, they would accept that he is very kind-hearted. He is very compassionate. He is very empathetical person. So this characteristic is not only for Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam, but this character is we can see in all of our imams. They were very merciful. They were very kind. They were very kind-hearted. They were very compassionate. I think one thing that we need to pay attention to this aspect is how we can become compassionate and kind-hearted person in our practical life. This is extremely important for us. So Imam Askari alayhi salam has this position, and it was very difficult time for him. But today, in the other portion of my today's speech, I just want to focus on some of the important ahadith of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. These sayings of Imam Hasan Askari are directly related to our refinement of our heart and our spiritual development, our intellectual development. And this is our basically purpose, that we learn something from our Imam. The teachings of our Imam are always important for us to pay attention to the teachings of Imam alayhi salam. This is our ultimate goal. If we believe in Imam, why we believe in Imam? We believe in Imam so that we could believe in the teaching, and we could pay attention to the teaching and the seerah of our Imam. And if we are taking more interest, because first we must have belief system. If we believe in Imam, then we will love to understand and listen to them, the teachings, their sayings. If we are not believing that, those who don't believe Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, those don't who don't love Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They don't take any interest in sayings of our Imam. They don't take any interest in understanding the contents of Nahjul Balagha or Sayyid Sajjad. So this is a first step. If we believe in Imam, if we believe in Quran, if we believe in prophethood, so the philosophy behind this is that we pay attention to the contents and the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and the teachings of prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please recite Salawat. One day we see in the history that when he was just child, Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam, he was just weeping and shedding tears, and then children were playing there. An outlooker, an observer was there, and he came close to Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam and asked that if you want some toys or something, I will buy for you. Then he answered at that time when he was just child. He said, "We are not created for these things." Then it was astonishing for him. Then he asked that, okay, so what was the purpose of your creation then? He said, we are created for two things. It's very important. We are created for knowledge and we are created for worship. We are created for marfat and we are created for worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam Islam gave the message, and then this person asked, where did you get it from? Where did you learn this from? Then he recited very important Quran. Afama afa hasibtum annama khalaqnakum abatha wa annakum ilayna la turja'un. Have you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, that do you think that you are created purposeless? You are created without any goal and without any purpose, and you will not return to us. So this was the verse, and then Imam Askari alayhi salam got this message from this verse and conveyed in this way that we are not created for playing, we are created for knowledge and for worship. So this is very extremely important for us to know that in the very beginning, Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam had deep wisdom and intellect, and he was also kind-hearted. It means that from moral and ethical point of view, Imam Askari was moral and spiritual person, and from academic point of view, from theoretical point of view, from academic point of view, Imam was very intellectual as well. At the time of Imam, the caliphs of his time, so many scholars and many philosophers would come and would discuss different issues with Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. And even Christian scholars would come, and in the end, we see in the history that there are a lot of discussions mentioned in the history, and we see that end of the day, Imam Askari alayhi salam would not allow them to bring any solid argument, whatever the discussion topic is. So this was a short background of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam from historical point of view. So we will see some of the sayings of Imam. One saying today I want to focus on it from Imam Hasan Askari is, Imam says, "Laysat al-ibada kasratu as-sawm was-salah, innamal ibada kasratu tafakkur fi amrillah." Imam Askari alayhi salam says that worship is not abundant of prayers and fasting. We are thinking normally that if we are praying Lord, we are fasting Lord, then it is a great ibadah. Imam says it's not a ibadah, it's not a worship if you are abundantly praying and fasting. And then he say, innamal ibadah. Worship is only on. Innama means only and only. If you want to know what is the meaning of ibadah, ibadat is a tafakkur fi amrillah. You need to ponder on amrullah, on the affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you need to think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So thinking ability and pondering over something
who is Ar-Rahman, who is Al-Mannan,
important for us.
Muhammad Rasulullah, Muhammad is the messenger, Allah is our
So first of all, let's see today the meaning of this very beautiful hadith. There are many dimensions and aspects that we can discuss here, but some of the aspects I'm going to inshallah mention in today's our program. Imam when says that a kasrat of praying and fasting is not ibadah. He's saying basically we have also Quranic verse that we have two different approaches. One is quantitative approach. The second is qualitative approach. We say kamiyat and kafiyat, qualitative approach. So, for example, I am praying a lot, but there is no quality in my prayer. There is no quality in my psalm or in my fasting. It is not with the spirit of ibadah. I'm not thinking about the wisdom, the philosophy, and the hikmah behind worships and the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it means that I'm just reciting and I am offering prayers and fasting, but I am not, more important is quality. In the month of Ramadan, quantity has become more important for us. We are pushing a lot towards ourselves, towards finishing the whole Quran in the month of Ramadan. It is good if we can do this. I'm not saying that quantity is bad, but if quantity without quality is bad, if quantity is there with quality, with understanding, with going into the deeper levels, with understanding the messages of Quran, if we are able to do this one, if we are praying and we don't know the meanings of Alhamdulillah or whatever the surah we are reciting, if we are praying, we don't know the philosophy of worships, that why Allah has just commanded us to pray and fasting and everything, why it is wajib on us. So many things are there which we need to pay attention to this one. If marfat is not there, marfat is related to tafakkur. Imam alayhi salam says tafakkur is a real ibadah. If you don't have marfat, you see Ibn Muljim, who basically murdered Imam Ali alayhi salam, he was one of the great abid and zahid of his time. He would all the time pray and fast, but he killed Imam Ali alayhi salam. And similarly, we see now some extremist groups, they are killing innocent people in the name of Quran, in the name of Islam. What they are lacking. Me and you are not able to pray like them. Me and you cannot able to observe fasting like them. Why? Because they are doing this law, but they don't have understanding. They don't have intellectual approach. They don't have the spirit of religion. They need to understand. So this is why the fakkur is more important than ibadah. Should be qualitative. Quran also says that khalaqallahu khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amal. If you pay attention to this verse, Allah has created death and haya and life. And liyabluwakum, why death and life is created? Quran says liyabluwakum. Allah wants to test us. Allah wants to put us on trial. Whosoever is good in amal is not only good. Ahsan is superlative degree. Who is the one is the best in amal? So best amal is required. Quality of amal is required. So this is why Imam al-Islam says about that the fakkur is extremely important. So first of all, I want to mention and highlight 3 or 5 important points related to our tafakkur and which are extremely notable, and then we can take benefit from this insight as well. So first thing is, if we want to travel, we need at least 3 things. We need ride. So it can be aeroplane, it can be your car, anything, whatever you have. So you need a ride if you want to start your journey. The second thing, you need provision. So you need whatever necessary things are required for your journey. So you are always trying to gather these things, and then you need this zadera with you, this livelihood, this provision. And the third thing is you need to ponder over. You need to think, what is your destiny? Where do you want to go? What is your final goal? So if you don't know where to go, so right will not help you, livelihood and provision will not help you. So similarly, the fakkur is very important. Even if we are praying along, we are fasting along, even we are attending majalis and participating in azadari along. For example, in the Muharram, we are commemorating Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and then we are also participating in azadari. But we don't know what is the final goal, what is our ultimate objective, then where will we reach? So this is extremely important for us to know that the tafakkur is helping us to determine our goal, to determine our final destiny. Then if we know what is my goal, I need to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I need taqarrub ilallah, I need proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then I need to know how I need to start my spiritual journey and what are the obstacles in the way of my journey. What are the things which are hindering me to move forward in my journey? All these things are important and these are related to our tafakkur. The third thing is we have two different concepts. One is thinking, tafakkur means thinking. The second is aqidah. So we have already understanding about aqidah and belief, our belief system. It's very important to know the difference between thinking and aqidah. So our aqidah is not necessarily based on our thinking. When we talk about thinking, it means that this thinking is deeply seated in our heart. It's directly related to our soul. There is no, there are no biases, there are no prejudices, there are no pre-assumptions, there are no expectations. The tafakkur is very pure. When I am starting to think on something, that I am not involving my own assumptions or my biases. But aqidah is not necessarily based on my tafakkur, on my process of my thinking. Aqidah can come from circumstances. Aqidah can come from my prejudices. Aqidah can come from my parents, my family, my environment, maybe my blind attachment. So Aqidah is not necessarily based on the tafakkur. Even if we believe that our Aqidah is 100% right, but question is again there that why we believe in Imams, why we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this Aqidah came from our tafakkur or because of my parents. Because my parents were Muslim, because my parents were Shia. This is why today I am a lover of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Or I have thought about it. I have reflected upon this. I have pondered over this very important already about Imam Hussain, these things. So this is why we need to separate from each other the meaning of Aqidah and the meaning of reflected. The tafakkur is I have pondered over this very separate from each other. The meaning of Aqidah and the meaning of so when we talk about thinking personality, another issue is why Imam al-Islam is talking about tafakkur fi amrillah. Tafakkur is important for us because we need to understand our thinking, we need to understand our feelings, we need to understand the facts. For example, I would say Several times it is happening that we are mixing up our thoughts and our feelings. We have at least three, four things that we need to separate from each other. Meaning we need to distinguish these things from each other. One is our thoughts, our thinking ability, thinking process. The second is related to our feelings. We feel angry, we feel fear, different kind of feelings are there. Sometimes we are anxious, sometimes we are irritated, sometimes we are agitated. So all these feelings are there, and we are mixing up these feelings with our thoughts and our facts and our assumptions. We sometimes we forget that we are assuming something, and if you are assuming something, this can be very dangerous because on your assumption, you want to take action, you want to take decision because you are just assuming, you are not sure about this, you are not certain about it. So this is why tafakkur is important. Tafakkur will, thinking will help you that you are assuming something, you are guessing something, or you are certain about something. So thinking is also help you. What are your feelings exactly? And you are able to go to the deepest level of your feelings, and then you can distinguish or separate your thoughts from the feelings. So this is again Imam alayhi salam when says about the tafakkur. So this aspect is also very important. Another aspect is about negligence. You know, Quran is focusing a lot on ghaflat. The word ghaflat in the Quran, you see, it means it is different from forgetting something. Quran is not talking much about forgetting. All of us are really forgetting a lot of things. We learn something, we get knowledge of something, but we forget it. It means we knew something and now we have forgotten it. This is what about forgetting. But ghaflat is not that. Ghaflat means we know something, but we are not attentive towards this one. We are not paying attention to this one. We know already. So Quran is saying that whatever you are learning, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in prophethood, whether you believe in other Islamic laws, spiritual laws, related to our faith, related to our Imam, related to our ethics and morality and spirituality, all these things already we know. They are part of our inborn nature, our fitra. They are part of our heart, but we are not attentive. We have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our heart and in our soul. The presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, but we are not aware of this. So ghaflat and negligence is very dangerous for us. So Imam alayhi salam says that tafakkur, if we are thinking person in our life and we are always thinking and reflecting and pondering over, then we will be able to get rid of this issue of ghaflat and the negligence we normally have. One best example is whenever we get an accident, for example. So why we have this accident on the roads? So this is not because of we are forgetting some laws. This is because we are not attentive to this one. This is why we get in accident and something is happening. So this aspect about the tafakkur is very important. Another aspect is when Imam Hasan Askari talks about the tafakkur, he says we need to pay attention to the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We say ayat of Parvardigar. Each and everything in this universe, we see mountain, we see ocean, whatever we see on the earth, everything is ayat of Parvardigar. They are signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When there are ayat, when there are signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it means this is apparent aspect. But there is more deeper reality behind these signs. When we have signboards on the road, so signboards are just that giving us like directions, and they themselves are nothing, but they are just guiding us. Similarly, signs of Parvardigar, each and everything in this universe is considered signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we will ponder over these ayat. When we will think on these ayat, then we will have divine world, divine perception. This divine worldview is extremely important. That we see the connection of this universe with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have, for example, in Surah Ham we recite Maliki Yawmiddin. What is the meaning of Maliki Yawmiddin? Maliki Yawmiddin means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is honor of the day of judgment. He is Malik of the day of judgment. So I will ask one question. How come Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not the Malik of this world? He is also the Malik of this world. But what happened that in the Surah Ham, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Maliki Yawmiddin. Why? Because Malikiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the ownership of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be seen in the day of judgment. In this world, because of the apparent causes, because of the worldly desires, worldly things, we don't see the real cause. We don't see behind these causes the real cause and the malikiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ownership of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in the day of judgment, we will be able to, because there is no ghafla. Then the veils will be removed, hijab will be removed, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Barazu lillahi jami'an. Everything will appear before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, it's a very beautiful verse. Everything will appear before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone will be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the eyes of his or her heart. Why? Because these worldly things are going behind. But here we have apparently all these worldly causes. Because of these worldly causes, we are too much engaged in this world. And because of our, we are badly engaged and emotionally attached to this world. Because of our attachment, we are not able to see the real cause and the real kingdom. So this is what Imam alayhi salam is talking about, the presence of God, talking about the practical aspect which we are really lacking. We, for example, even if I ask you about our belief system, about Imam, about Imamat, about Nabuwat, about existence of God, you may be able to answer me theoretically, philosophically, theologically. You can say these are the reasons, these are the causes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is existing, and I have logic for this one. I have arguments to prove that Allah is existing, and then why we need prophethood, why we need Imam. But the main question is whether Allah is also present in my life or not. This is what we are lacking. Whether Imam Hussain alayhi salam is present in my life or not. Whether there is a realization of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, realization of prophets of God, Imams and the alayhi salam. So this is why we know very well fear of God. So we have better understanding about that. We know the fear of judgment. But how many people are there who really have the fear of God in their practical life? How many people are there who have fear of the day of judgment in their practical life? These two things are totally different. If you have very strong aqidah, if you have very strong thoughts, and you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't mean Allah is also practically helping you. It doesn't mean that Allah has become source of strength for you. It doesn't mean that Imam Hussain alayhi salam has become source of strength for you. It means that whenever you are in crisis in this world, whenever you are going through difficult time, hard time in this world, then Imam Hussain will not help us. Allah is not helping us because Allah is not present in my life. Imam Hussain is not present in my life. If I have a sinful life, it means fear of day of judgment is not there in my life. So this is very important aspect when we talk about tafakkur, about thinking, about reflection, and especially I'm happy that some of our youngsters are sitting in front of me. I would say that I will share my experience here. That why reflection is extremely important, not questioning something. Because our youth, my children, my cousins, nephews, and others, they are coming and asking lot of questions, and they don't have sabr, and they don't have patience to listen the answer. You understand what I'm saying? They just want to say something. They just want to question something. They just want to ask questions. But another thing that Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam is teaching us. And tonight we need to get this message. That we, before asking any question, whatever, you may have a lot of questions about my speech, but before you ask any question, you need to reflect what I'm saying. When you have reflected, so reflection is always related to something that you are not using your biases, you don't have any expectations, you purely, you are just reflecting whatever I'm saying. You are paraphrasing this one, you are mirroring whatever I'm saying, you are struggling to understand, you are not struggling to question, you are not struggling to criticize me. You have this right, but keep this right for another time. But first of all, we need to be a good listener. First of all, we need to be a deep listener. We need to learn to listen, not always speaking and talking and questioning and asking something. So these two levels are must be distinguished from each other. And reflection in our life is helping us to have a good learning process in our life. Please recite Salawat. Similarly, at another place, Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam says, "Ma akbahal mu'min an takuna raghbatan tuzillu." Imam says, this is the worst thing that one mu'min can have. What is the worst thing? Imam says, if he or she has raghbat. You know what is the meaning of raghbat? The meaning of raghbat in Persian and in Arabic, raghbat is tendency. So we have tendencies towards something. We like something, we dislike something, we love something, we hate something. So these are our tendencies. These are our, like we can say that we have this raghbat in our life, and we have 3-4 faculties and areas. If we know this one, then we will understand our likes and dislikes and our inclinations and our tendencies. This is related to one area of our soul and our heart. One is related to our thoughts, our brain, our intellectual ability. This is one aspect. The second aspect is related to our love and likes and dislikes. If you little bit think now, for example, if I say you love someone, for example, you love something. So love is not related to my intellectual ability. Love and liking something, disliking something is related to my heart, related to my tendency. So these tendencies are extremely important. Imam says that you should not adopt, you should not have these kind of tendencies which are fake. You have, for example, like raghbat, for example, you are thirsty. So you have this urge to drink water. So this is true urge, but sometimes this is fake. This is not true. So Imam alayhi salam says that you should, it is worst thing that you have kind of tendency, and this tendency is humiliating. This tendency is lowering your dignity and your respect, and you are losing your respect before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you have this tendency. So similarly, we say sadiq and qasim. So some food, I have tendency, I like to have this food, but this food is harmful for me. But I like this one. So my likes and dislikes may be different from their effect. So similarly, we have Subh Kazib and Subh Sadiq. So if we talk about morning, then how we can understand that Fajr time has started. So we have these two terminologies. So who will determine this one? This is Subh Kazib or Sadiq. Only astronomers can determine this one. Who will determine which food is good for me, which is bad? I may considering is good. I have a lot of tendencies towards this one, but doctor will tell me that this is not good for me, and this is why I should not eat this one. Similarly, when we talk about our rahbat, our tendencies as a whole, then who should tell us? Quran can only tell us. Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam can tell us that your tendencies are untrue. You are going towards power. You have lust of power. You have love of this world. You are looking for some worldly things. You have worldly desires. These are not good for you. These are not good for your soul. So this is why Imam says the worst thing is in the moment is you have raghbah, you have tendency, which is in future humiliating you, which is lowering your dignity. So your dignity and your izzat and your respect is extremely important for yourself, and this is what we need to learn. The last thing I just want to mention what Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam says. He says, "Qulu lin-nasi husna." Whenever, it's a very beautiful hadith. Whenever you are talking to each other, you morally and ethically, you should have good behavior. You must have adab. When we talk about manners, when we talk about adab, when we talk about behavior is outer aspect of our ethics and morality, which is in our heart, which is related to our soul. So whenever you're talking to each other, you should have in polite manner, you should have in respectful manner, you are respecting each other. This is extremely important. Whenever our imams, they would see other people, they would meet, they would interact, they would socialize. They were ethically and spiritually, they were very sound, and they would attract people towards themselves. So Imam says, this is very interesting hadith. Imam says, "Mu'minuhum or mukhalifum." You need to have good behavior, whether other person is your friend, is mu'min, or your enemy, or your opponent, no matter whosoever. And then Imam alayhi salam is giving the reason. Imam says, "Ammal mu'minun wa yasbitu lahum bachar." Why? When there is a moment and you are meeting with your moment, then you must have good behavior, good manners, good ethics, and very respectful manner. Because you need to do this, because you are also mu'min, because you are faithful person. You must meet your mu'min friend with smiley face, and then with respectful way. But why? What about opponents? This is extremely important for us. Imam says, "Ba'ammal mukhalifun." Imam says, "Yukallahum bil marana." When you're talking to them, you must be very lenient, very polite. And then Imam says, "La injazabihim ilal iman." So you could attract them towards us. You can attract them towards. Now I want to ask one question. What is happening in Pakistan, in India, in our countries, in the name of Ahl Bayt? We are doing munazara. We are insulting other people of other faith. We are disrespectful them. We are using abusive language. Why we are doing this one? What we are getting out of it? We are creating more hatred in their heart for our imams. For example, if you are my opponent in religion, you have different faith. For example, you are not follower of Ahl Bayt. And if I am using disrespectful language, if I am using substandard language, so what will be the result? So I am further keeping you away from the teachings of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. Imam Hasan Askari says that you must have good behavior with your mukhalifin, with those who don't believe in Ahl Bayt, so that you could attract them. Imam Riza alimun nas mahasina kalam. Imam Riza said, if people would know the beauty of our teachings, it's a beautiful hadith. Imam Riza says, if people would know the beauty of our teaching, now alimun nas mahasina kalamin la lattaba'una, they would follow us. If they are not following us, we are responsible because we are not conveying the beauty of the teachings and the seerah of our aima to other people who are mukhalif, who are opponents. So this is what our Imam has said. So inshallah, in the end, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq to really ponder over the Quranic verses and attach ourselves with the teaching of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam and learn something from this. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our amal and ibadah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enlighten our heart and soul with the teaching of Quran and the teaching of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the fast recovery of those who are sick. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower His mercy upon those who have passed away. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the reappearance of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi tayyibin at-tahirin al-ma'sum. Allahumma salli ala
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا سيد خير الخلق الله، السلام عليك يا جد الحسن والحسين عليهم السلام، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا يعصوب الدين يا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب، السلام عليك يا فاطمة، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى، السلام عليك يا حسين الشهيد المظلوم، السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين وأصحاب الحسين، السلام عليك يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق، السلام عليك يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الفاضل، السلام عليك يا أبا الحسن علي بن موسى أيها الرضا، السلام عليك يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي التقي النقي، السلام عليك يا أبا محمد يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي، السلام عليك يا أبا محمد أيها العسكري، السلام عليك يا حجة الله على خلقه يا إمام الزمان، اللهم اجعلنا من أعوانه أنصاره مستشهدين بين يديه، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، اللهم كل ولي الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا وذليلا وعينا حتى تسكنوا أرضك طوعا وتمتعوا فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين على الأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات والشهداء والصديقين وعلماء ومراجع ماضي على روح المغفورة المرحوم فاطمة ناصر وعلى روح مرحومة ومغفورة صغيرة بكم بنت رحمة الله وعلى روح مرحوم ومغفور القادم ابن محمد وجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات ورأي تعجل الظهور والياسر أرواحنا له الفداء ورأي فتح فيروز وقوم به مجاهد الإسلام وتبدي إن تشني ميزان إمام حسن العسكري الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد عجل فرج.
Well, we need only just 2 minutes. We have to encourage Momini to participate from in Hussainia especially. We're trying to we have a draw. It's a $10 gift card, and inshallah we will 5 gift card for the ladies and 5 gift card for the men. So I would like to request Maulana, and he will help us to take a draw, and we'll see who's the lucky person. And this gift card is sponsored by Software Cell. So please say Lord Salawat. So, mashallah, the first lucky participant, Brother Riazul Abbas. Salawat for him. Brother Riaz, are you here? Please come forward. Salawat. Mashallah, the second lucky person is Wazir Abbas. So what for Wazir Abbas? And the second, third luckiest person is Mihal Raza. So what for Mihal? And the fourth, I'm sorry for that, but no, he also lucky person. Imran Ali. Because he is sponsored. We'll do again. A fourth person is Muwassal Kazmi. Muwassal. The fifth one, Dr. Adnan Zaidi. So Lord Salawat for everyone. And please, inshallah, we will continue Because in last program, some brothers they gave a suggestion, brother Kasser Bajwa, and he gave a suggestion, and the brother Iqbal, he also gave a suggestion. So we can encourage our Mu'mineen, because of COVID, a lot of people they're preferring to stay at home, and we want to encourage people they should come again in Hussainia, and then we can start the program with full of Mu'mineen. Salawat for everyone.
कैमरा किधर है? मैं तो ये समझ रहा हूँ कि कैमरा ही लिया जाए वो डैश कैम चलो ठीक है वो ठीक है तो फाइनल कर लेते हैं क्या 10 11 और आपके घर में सही कैमरा क्या है बड़ा कैमरा बड़े कैमरे में सही मेरा मसला हल नहीं करता मेरा मसला करता होगा मैं आपको बता था कि प्रोग्राम को संचित हो गया कोई देख लियो रात में नहीं वहीं पे होता है तो ये 11:30 Let's go fast. हम समझे ये जितना हमें चलो आज हमें टीम मुझे लगा चलो वो फिर इसको बोलने हैं वो हमें क्या वो आपको
आज